wherever there's power and money, there's people who have messed up minds who do weird stuff.
Singer Ian Watkins, who was jailed for child sex offences, has been killed in an attack in prison.
We toured with them for about 6 weeks, and it was abundantly clear that something was up. And even from the first sound check, things were just a little bit off. Weird atmosphere from the get-go, now knowing what was going on at the time, how severe it was, how gross it was. That's what took everyone by like, whoa, what the hell? And he just walked over to me with his parka on and sunglasses, looked at me, I was like, oh, waved his hand over it and went.
I know it's annoying when creators ask you to subscribe, but since I started, the channel's grown 10 times faster. If you don't sub, YouTube probably won't show you the next episode. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Hit subscribe. This is a really interesting one because Josh is probably definitely the first person, I think, on Heretics, who's an old friend of mine, who I've known since we were, 12?
Very young, yeah.
And now you're a superstar.
I wouldn't go that far. You're the superstar now.
We're superstars.
We're superstars together.
One thing I don't want to give the impression of is like that we grew up in some kind of like everybody went and did some sort of showbiz thing. Because as far as you're literally the only other person I know.
Yeah.
So get that clear, everyone. It's not some sort of like
not some Disney thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Timberlake and all of that.
No, I mean it's cool. I've obviously seen your career kind of go crazy over the last 5 years, something like that. So yeah, it's really cool to see.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's been cool to see. I love your music. Every time I speak to you, some of your songs are just in my head the whole time, all day.
Sorry about that, mate.
It's actually too much, yeah. But we're going to get onto a really depressing topic. So first, I thought I might just, maybe it's interesting for Heretics viewers. What was 12-year-old us and me like?
We were weird, weren't we? I feel like we were slight outsiders to what other people in our age group and friends were like. What do we spend most of our time doing? Driving around, playing guitars.
Yeah, not at 12 driving.
No,
that
not
was
at
later.
12. Oh, at 12, yeah.
Or maybe 13, 14.
Yeah, we were just kind of slightly outsiders, hanging out. I know me and you did some weird podcasts.
That was my first ever podcasting. It was with you, wasn't it? What was that?
I think it was me and you just trying to copy Ricky Gervais' XFM show, almost exactly the same. So I've got it somewhere. It'll come out at some point.
Though imagine what we might have said. I do want to listen to that. Or maybe it would be too cringy, I don't know.
It definitely was, yeah.
Gosh. Okay. So I want to ask you today, obviously, that later on, I will ask about sort of the music industry in general. There's been mad things happening in various different aspects of that. But yeah, Ian Watkins, who you toured with, and he was killed this week in prison. This was a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah.
You had what I always remembered when you told me years ago as a strange experience with him. So he was strange, and I think people do want to know what was this guy like. But before we get into that, for those who don't know, who is Ian Watkins and what were they, Lostprophets?
Yeah, so Lostprophets were band from Wales who had like some really huge success in like mid-2000s. Had some, I think they were one of the only bands who kind of crossed over into America and like sold quite a lot of records over there. Had some huge songs, toured up to arena size thing around UK and Europe. That's what they were. Big rock band, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, they were bigger than I think people maybe realize.
Yeah.
And so when the story came out about what he'd been doing, I mean, that shocked the music world at the time.
Yeah. I mean, obviously any story of that kind of nature is going to shock people. But I think how severe it was and how gross it was, that's what kind of took everyone by like, whoa, what the hell? And obviously we toured with them for about 6 weeks, and it was abundantly clear that something was up. Yeah, I guess we could get onto that if you want.
Yeah. Well, we can first, I guess, let's say what some people won't even know the story. So what,
right.
And you can sort of paraphrase. I've got a little statement just to read out afterwards to sort of fill in gaps. Because it's so horrific. It's hard to sort of put all together. But what is your sort of memory of what he did? I'm quite sensitive to these things. So I was quite like careful to not read into the court cases and stuff like that. But I just knew that it was 13 counts of like, PDF stuff. I don't know how. Yeah, sexual things with minors, and like a lot of like grooming fans, young fans, and slightly older fans that had kids in order to kind of get their kids involved in
that stuff. So yeah, really disgusting stuff.
It was really bad. I've got this just to give people an idea, and I've asked Josh to use words like PDF file because YouTube goes mental if you say, which is ridiculous, but that's YouTube. Take it up with YouTube, people. Ian Watkins, the former lead singer of the Welsh rock band Lostprophets, was convicted in 2013 of numerous heinous child sex offences that shocked the world with their depravity. He pleaded guilty to attempting to R and SA infants as young as 10 months old, including a baby boy and a 1-year-old girl, in conspiracy with their mothers. That's one of the maddest parts of this. Female fans he manipulated using his celebrity status. Among the worst acts, Watkins attempted to penetrate, not good, babies and things, spitting, drugging them, and all sorts of things. It's actually too much to read out most of those things. But urging mothers to do things to their daughters on Skype. Oh my God, this gets. I actually just before coming on, I said to ChatGPT, just give me a paragraph.
Yeah, that's a summary you don't ever want, really. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot.
Okay. Whatever anyone's imagining, I'm not going to read the rest of it. What anyone's, it's like 100 times worse than that. My God. The maddest thing of this, maybe, we know there are mental people out there who do these kinds of things, but then the fact that he was able to convince so many fans.
Yeah, I don't understand that. He must just be extremely manipulative. And I guess when you have that position of power over people and you have that many super fans, you can manipulate them and groom them into doing clearly anything, because that is. But I think also drugs were involved, and he would make these mothers take drugs and get involved in drugs, and maybe that skews their mental state. I don't know, but I couldn't even imagine it, mate, to be honest. Yeah,
it's a whole subculture in music, isn't it? Stans. Have you had, which comes from the Eminem song, doesn't it? Have you had stans? Obviously you wouldn't, but who were just like obsessive over you?
Not so much. No, not really. I've always been careful to keep like a professional distance from fans, even as far as if I have photos with fans. You can even see online, I've always got both my hands in
the Keanu
Reeves technique. As soon as I saw that, I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
Just to be sure, like just to be safe. Yeah, like I've always had girlfriends, long-term girlfriends. I don't want anyone accusing me of something. So I keep my hands visible at all times, keep very professional relationship with fans, and yeah, I'm obviously nowhere near that size, so I've never really had that kind of level of fandom. But yeah, no, nothing as intense as that for sure.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about this tour then. So what led to you going on tour with the Lostprophets?
What did lead on tour? I think they were struggling to sell tickets. This was in like 2011. And that was our peak. So we had just dropped a song. It was A-list all over Radio 1. It was clear we would be able to sell a lot more tickets for them on the tour. So we got contacted. Hey, Lostprophets want to bring you onto their tour as main support. We're like, great, cool. They're a huge band. Yeah, let's do it. Let's jump on a tour bus and go and do our first ever tour around the UK. So yeah, we jumped on a tour with them. And even from the first sound check, things were just a little bit off. Since then, I've done a lot more touring, a lot more support with other people, had people support me. And you always try and treat people like family and try and make it like fun for everyone. But it was clear that there was tension in the air amongst everyone. Ian was never at any of the sound checks, and the band would go and do all the sound checks. And just a weird atmosphere from the get-go. They were very strict towards us, very not friendly. I think there may have been a bit of jealousy, the fact that we were brought on to sell more tickets, and some of the shows, people would come to see us, and the support goes on before the main act. They would watch us and then leave. So a lot of the time we would play to a bigger crowd than they would play to. So I think that kind of caused a bit of tension between us. But then now knowing what was going on at the time, they probably had a lot more to deal with. So I think that was all going on during that tour.
Might be that the bandmates had to put up with some of his behaviour.
Oh no, they definitely did. So, I mean, the other band were really lovely to us. To be honest with you, they were cool. Like
the Lostprophets, the rest of the Lostprophets.
The rest of the band, yeah, they were nice, and I never saw them in the same room as Ian. He was constantly chauffeured around by the tour manager, kept distant from everyone. And I only had one interaction with him the entire 6 weeks we were on tour, which was super weird.
What happened on that interaction?
What was such a bizarre interaction. So just to kind of give you an idea of his mental state around this tour, some of the dates he would show up on stage wearing a parka and sunglasses, would sit on the floor, put the microphone down on the stage and just sit there for the entire show while the band are all just standing there just like, what do we do?
With an audience there?
Selling tickets to a show. This was their show. I mean, he was clearly like doing a lot of drugs at this point. So the biggest show of the tour was Cardiff Arena, and one of our main pieces of equipment stopped working just before the doors were about to open. So we literally had it open and were soldering something together inside a piece of equipment, literally minutes before doors open. And he just walked over to me with his parka on and sunglasses, looked at me. I was like, oh, waved his hand over it and went, everything's going to be all right. And then walked off. And that was the only interaction I had with him the entire tour.
Wow.
Pretty weird.
It's a weird guy.
On a lot of drugs. Clearly on a lot of drugs at this point.
Yeah.
And obviously a weird guy. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see him like over those weeks? So how many weeks was it?
6 weeks.
Okay. And did you see him just behave erratically otherwise?
Well, he was just kept away from everyone. So I think he had his own tour bus. I think the other band were kept completely separate from him. And the only time we would see him was on stage. And a lot of the time he was either not singing or they would like have a backing track with his voice on it. He was messing up all the words. And sometimes just laying down on the floor and just not performing at all. So you could tell his mind was elsewhere, other stuff going on.
It's strange that I haven't heard the band come out and say so much about that stuff. And then they've now said, it could have been so different. And, we could never have known these kinds of things. But do you feel like they might feel a bit guilty or a bit like, hey, we knew a bit here? I
don't think that they knew about like any of the predatory stuff, but it was obvious he was on drugs. I mean, clear
that's normal for rock stars, isn't it?
Normal, but
aren't the Gallaghers on that kind of thing?
Not anymore. I'm probably in their heyday, but they weren't playing to sold out shows at this point. This was kind of at a point in their career where it felt like it was taking a dip. So for us to see someone acting this way, it was a bit out of character. But also, I've toured with loads of artists over the years, people who do take drugs, people who like to party, but this is a different type of taking drugs. It's a dark type of taking drugs where you're being locked away and being kept separate from everyone. But it really did create a divide between us and them. I don't know if it was because we were getting a good response on the tour, but by the end of the tour, that their tour manager hated us. We were told, I think the last show of the tour was Brixton Academy, and we were told, once you get off stage, you have to leave the venue. We weren't even allowed to stay for their performance. So it was all very strange. And looking back at it, they were, like I say, they're probably dealing with
him.
Yeah.
Shit. And so, I mean, you toured with loads of people. And would that be up there with the strangest?
Oh, it's definitely the weirdest tour. Yeah. But at the time, it was the start of our career. And only looking back on it, it was weird because we were just enjoying it ourselves. It was like our first ever tour on a tour bus. We had a separate bus from them. We liked to party as it was. So we were just having our own fun time. And then during sound checks and stuff, like, it's all a bit weird. What's going on here? And it taught us how to not treat other people as well. Like if we then did our own tour following that, and we taught our support acts like we treated them like with the most kindness ever and wanted them to feel like family, not like outsiders. And but like I say, they're dealing with a lot.
When it all came out, the indie record that they were signed to had to close down.
The label.
The label, so it's sort of guilt by association thing.
Yeah, which I do find a bit weird because that's a bit of a guilty move, but I don't know if they were set up specifically for that band to release music or... it's a bit strange because record label has nothing to do with how someone acts, but I guess it was so severe that anyone associated probably had to give up their job.
Yeah, it's like Jimmy Savile levels, really.
Yeah.
And with Jimmy Savile, people had to know. So that's what everyone's asking, I think, looking back. Like, did someone know?
I think from what I read, I think that the only people who knew were the victims. And I think a lot of the victims did speak up. and they spoke up to the police, but the police, it was a different time where like social media didn't exist. There was no pressure from, like now, if something happens to someone, they can just publicly say it and it will gain traction and then people have to deal with it. But back then, I feel like police were like, oh, you know, rock stars are rock stars, you know, and they didn't believe it. I think it was reported multiple times before anything was looked into.
What about, I mean, could you think you can never, it's so bad that, like, usually I believe in the death of the author, you know, like it's separate the author, but it's so bad that can people listen to their music? Do you think you can separate that?
Well, the weird part is their listeners have gone up since he died.
Really?
So like their Spotify monthly plays have just taken a little bump. Obviously, not all bad press is, or not all press is bad press. I don't know, but yeah, their music has suddenly just taken a little spike. But if you compare how big they were, and we're talking millions of records, to now getting less monthly plays than just a small time act. I mean, I don't think you can come back from it. Well, I feel bad for the band because, you know, if they did know nothing about it, their livelihoods were taken away from them, you know.
Yeah, there is a lot of focus now on the music industry. I know you're saying that some people can put, you know, accusers can put things online now and say, hey, this person did this and that, and you know. But then there was Diddy seems to have been covered for many years. Yeah, obviously back in the heyday, Jimmy Savile is kind of he was in that music industry, wasn't he? Despite not being a musician. Mm-hmm. Do you worry that that's still going on, that kind of thing?
I think it'd be very difficult for that to exist anymore. I think as like social media is ramping up to the point where anyone has a platform to say something, it's a lot easier for someone to come out, make accusations and show their evidence, and then the crowd does what the crowd does. They'll make sure that person no longer works. I think Diddy being outed recently was probably because of social media picking up in the way it was. And if we didn't have that, he would have probably just got away with it. But I don't think that's like just a music industry thing. I think that's wherever there's power and money, there's people who have messed up minds who do weird stuff, and their friends who make money with them who don't want to lose money. So they just kind of keep the secret between them.
Yeah, it does happen. I've heard a lot about, I mean, there's characters today, Bob Vylan is one of them. Apparently, for a festival, for a friend of mine who runs a festival said what people aren't talking about with regards to, apart from the death to the IDF stuff, is that he's just a horrible man. I mean, it's evident that he's just saying things to get reactions and playing into some virtue signaling type thing. And not to say that like his views are right or wrong, but the way that he does it and the way it's so obviously mimicking words that he knows are going to get a response from the crowd is just a bit, it's just obvious. That's not what nice people do. Do you know what I mean? It's not a good way to behave. It's not punk and it's not cool. It's just acting like an entitled person. Yeah. My contact says he smashes things up all the time, screams at women, is very abusive, and also it's said that he has a secret posh voice. And I don't think that's secret. I think the guy he's admitted to being raised like in a wealthy family and stuff like that, and his real name is like double-barreled and stuff like that. So clearly, the whole thing's an act. But you know, there are musicians that do that. That you know, their whole persona is an act, and that's fair enough. But just spewing hatred is just like, there's nothing really that cool about that, I don't think. There seems to be a lot of pressure maybe on musicians nowadays to conform. Yeah. And particularly that happened more than I've ever seen it around Palestine. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. How has that been for you in the industry? Try not to be that guy. Like I do see other people bending to pressure to say something or not say something. I think like these days with social media, so much separation and polarization between people, and so many echo chambers that people really believe that they're doing the right thing or they're saying the right thing. So I understand why people are doing it. There's so much more nuance to real life situations. I don't understand why. I do understand why people do it, but personally, I'm just like,
I know that there's more nuance in every situation. I'm not so arrogant that I would ever believe that I knew the answers to anything. So to say, this is right and I know it's right, I feel that's just arrogant. It's the same with religious beliefs, the same with anything. Like, I don't know anything. I'm such an idiot. How can I possibly know the realities of things that are going on in places that I can't even get access to? So for me to have an opinion on something and to be so stern that I'm correct, I just think it's arrogant, and I know I'm an idiot. I know I'll never get the answers right. So I'd rather just say nothing, quite honestly.
Do you think there are many others like you?
I know there are loads of people like me who just don't want to get involved, but I understand why people feel the need, and they feel like they're making a difference and they're being a savior and all that stuff. But me personally, yeah, I'm too stupid to be able to make an opinion on any of that.
Which is the smartest thing you could say, I think. Are there other musicians over the years, you don't have to give names, but who've given you the creeps in a kind of
Yeah, there has been some. In the electronic music world, it's kind of different from the rock world, where you get people who have lived in their bedroom, probably never even met a girl before, and they're just been fixed focus on making music their whole life. And then suddenly they get one song that blows up, and now they've got people messaging them, going to shows, being in these situations they've never experienced before. And they don't know how to act appropriately. And there's been a lot of misconduct in my scene personally. So yeah, I think, yeah, there's been some serious cancellations of some of my peers and some people that I saw it a mile off. Some other tours that I've been on where I've been like, I'm not doing any more of this. This is clearly an issue. Yeah. Again, I can't mention names because some people are very litigious, but yeah, I've been on tour buses, but I can't say anything. I've got no evidence. I've got no proof of anything. So just best thing to do is just stay away from those people. Don't work with them. It's happened a few times. On the flip side, I've also had some really close friends who have been accused of things that they didn't do and had their careers stripped from them. So there's that side of it as well.
Who's that happened to?
Very close. Again, I don't really want to mention names, but a very close friend of mine.
Bringing it up again, I suppose, the Streisand effect, isn't it?
Yeah, he's also like would prefer not to mention things. But his career suffered. He went from selling 4,000 tickets in every state in America to like being a big name to a girl making a false accusation about him, which is 100% provably false. And instead of him coming out with a statement to say, well, actually, this wasn't true, he just left it alone. And unfortunately, you leave it to the public decision and they're always going to assume you're guilty, which he wasn't. But his career has taken a big hit from it. And I think he's had to change his name now.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah. And it's happened a few times. I could probably name about 5 or 6 of my friends it's happened to.
Man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then you've got people like Lostprophets guy. And,
exactly.
So he was killed in prison this time.
Yeah.
What did you feel when you heard that?
That's weird because I never celebrate death, but if there was anyone who deserved it, do you know what I mean? I know he made a lot of people suffer. He's probably caused trauma for some young people who will probably have no idea why they act the way they act, probably passed on some stuff that they will then treat other people badly, you know? So yeah, I mean, good riddance. I don't know what else to say. I'm not going to be mourning him, that's for sure. But
you and I were saying before that it was strange it hadn't happened sooner, really.
Yeah, to survive in prison for 15 years, being as notoriously bad the charges were. Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised it lasted that long.
I've got another question for you, but first tell me, where can people find your work?
Modestep.com has everything you need. New album dropped last week, so Give Up the Ghost. Give Up the Ghost, which is actually about AI and it taking over everything. So,
there you go. What's the best? So someone who has never listened to Modestep, what's the word called when you say like it's a something song that to get into the band?
It's like a stepping stone or something like that. It's a difficult one with us because so much varied music. Our music is like from so many different genres. The new album, just listen to the new album. There's a song on there called Give Up the Ghost. Yeah.
That's what people should listen to. We'll have links down below as well. And on most, you don't want, rather that than on Spotify.
Modestep.com, got the links for everything.
Okay, we'll put it all there. Okay, and tell me, who is a heretic you admire?
Who is a heretic? Oh, we have to go with Prince.
Mm.
So Prince he broke all the boundaries. He wrote so much music that no one will ever hear. He fought record labels. The reason that you got that explicit lyrics sticker is because Prince.
Yeah.
Because he was too sexual in his music back in the day. Prince, all he did was live for music, lived and breathed it. He had a compound where he just brought the best musicians in the world, and he just lived music. So yeah, got to be Prince. And he changed his name to a symbol. I mean, that's about as heretic as it gets.
Was the symbol pronounced the artist formerly known as Prince? Or was that a different stage?
I have no idea. I actually don't know.
But he's dead now.
Rest in peace, Prince.
So there's no point in anything.
What a lovely end.
Yeah. What was the point?
What was the point?
What was the point?
He left a lasting impression on many of us who will also die. And
yeah, there's no point.
No point.
And on that note, people, go and follow Modestep. Go to modestep.com. I'll put the link down below. Josh has been brilliant coming on. Hit the like. Let me know thoughts down below. Obviously, we spoke today about a really serious topic at the beginning. Ian Watkins, of course, not to be confused with Ian H. Watkins. Do you remember that? Steps.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that.
People thought it was him.
That is a bad name.
Newspapers put him in there.
Oh, my God.
H from Steps. Poor
guy.
But made him continually relevant.
I still listen to a bit of Steps now and again. Nothing wrong with it, mate.
Can't argue with that. Right. People, go follow modestep.com. Go to hit the like. Let us know what you think down below and keep watching this channel.